Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show, The Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Yes, bro, we're back. How are you?
Oh man, good to be back. Yeah, man, doing great. It's been a good summer. Austin FC's been, kind of filling the time. It was good to kind of get away from football for a little bit. I'll admit, such a long season, right? I mean, it was like felt like it was forever, right? We had two halves of the season, a World Cup, and there's been a couple of international tournaments in the summer, like the Gold Cup here in the North America, and then the Women's World Cup is going to come up, so that'll be cool. But it was good to kind of step away and not pay attention to football for a little bit. I'll admit, like the first 2, 3 weeks of the transfer window, I really didn't pay attention to any of the news back and forth. When I really started getting excited was when we made the first signing, when it was first made official, and I was like, all right, now I'll start paying attention. Because all that other stuff, especially early on, like it's really hard to get like signings done right away, right? You can do all this build up, but it takes time. And so I just kind of wanted all that to kind of wash over. And once stuff started getting really serious, then I'll be like, all right, I'll start paying attention. So now, we're in the thick of it and things are moving fast. So yeah, now I'm excited, bro. Like it's pretty. Yeah, I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, bro, it's that time now. Preseason's about to start, so the players are back in for ones that weren't playing international football, back in the training ground, flying out to Germany end of this week, got a 1 week camp there, and we're flying out to your side of the world, America, couple of weeks
Yeah,
out there. Got a few games out there as well, some big games. Got Barcelona, Man United, the MLS All Stars team as well. It's going to be a good tour out there.
yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
gonna be fun.
yeah, that's it. Well, time just flies. Like, doesn't feel
Yeah,
like I was doing the last show of you wrapping up last season, and here we are now. Not long, like I'm saying, till pre-season gets underway, and then before you know, it'll be August, start of the season. The fixtures are being announced as well. Before we talk about the transfers, let's talk about the fixtures. So it's been kind to us. Home game against Nottingham Forest. It's good. We've had a couple of difficult games in recent times for the first game away from home. But it's nice to have a home game against Forest. It's also nice to finish the season again. It's a home game against Everton. What were your thoughts overall on the fixtures?
I'm a little annoyed that the Nottingham Forest game will be at 6:30 in the morning here, but we'll be okay. We'll make
I
it. We're
forgot
gonna,
about that.
yeah. I mean, it's fine. Like that's cool. We'll definitely pack the tavern, and because the excitement will be there. But it could have been. I would have been enjoyed it like if it was a little bit later. But home match, Nottingham Forest, like yeah, they're gonna be a tough one. It was a tough ending of the season against them, but that's whole different circumstances. Home game to open the season next year or this year, August 12th. Um, I think it's great, man. Finally, we get a home match, and then away to Crystal Palace. I think the three of the first four home games or four games are going to be at home. Because then after Crystal Palace, it's Fulham and then United. That'll be a big one. So I think that'll be great that we get to start at home and get the fans behind early and get everybody that's new to the team. You know, I mean, a lot of the guys we're signing or adding are used to big games and things like that. But to be different to be at the Emirates when you're wearing the red and white. So I'm ready to go, man. I think we're gonna have a really strong start to the season. A lot of good matchups as far as like season as well to kind of get everything going. And as we'll get into, we got a lot of our big signings in just in time for them to join us on this American tour. So it's going to be good to kind of get these guys acclimated and ready to go early on so that, we can hit the ground running.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking through, September's gonna be a big month with Man
Hmm.
United and Tottenham at home.
Yeah.
What's that? And yeah, bro, it's gonna be exciting times for us with the transfer business that we're doing. Let's
Yep.
start with there's one that surprised us because it's kind of out of the blue. Didn't really hear any strong links with him, and it's a bit surprising the amount of money we've paid. But guessing Arteta, the scouts, they've seen something in Kai Havertz that they think is going to work really well for us. and we've signed him from Chelsea. Big amount, as I'm saying, 65 million. And as well, I saw the wages as well. I don't know how true that is. These are things that are reported. It's not come from the club, but it sounds like it's a lot of money we're paying him as well on his salary. What are your thoughts on his signing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think overall, like I'll start with like the transfer cost, right? Like 65 million pounds, I think it was, or something like that. Um, I think that, maybe a little bit much, but I obviously with, the way things have been going, United paying 85 million or whatever it was for Anthony, and then Mudryk going for 85. I think all these prices are just inflated. So I don't think it has anything to do with the players, or maybe it's something but or what I mean to say is I just don't think it has anything to do with like us doing bad business. I think that's just what the business is at this point. He is a young player, Champions League winner. He scored the winning goal there, so he's got experience. And I think he's definitely showing, or I think the signing of Kai Havertz is sort of showing what the intention of Arteta is, what the intention that Arteta has going into this next phase that he was talking about. First, you saw uh, him clearing out a bunch of deadwood, right, getting rid of a bunch of players that didn't fit his system, and then you saw that youth movement coming in, right. And now I think the next step is maintaining that youth movement, but at the same time adding big game experience, which I think ultimately we lack. Right? We talked a lot about last year how there was a lot of, um, a lot. The core of this team was going through all this for the first time, and I think now with bringing in Kai Havertz, you bring this guy in who's had Champions League experience, which I think is very important. Um, so I think you have that, and I think you have somebody who needs a change of scenery. And I think bringing in, last year when we brought in Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, I think it's going to have the same kind of effect. Maybe not as massive moving forward, but even Odegaard, right? Like just a change of scenery, a guy that didn't necessarily do well at Chelsea, and I think a lot something that a lot of people have been leaving out, and something that I read recently was, he had COVID, and not only did he have COVID and did he struggle with it, but I think long term, and obviously I'm no medical doctor, whatever, but I think he really was struggling with what they call long COVID. So I think for a while he was having issues getting over the after effects of that disease or whatever. So I think that had a lot to do with his so stint there at Chelsea. And I think now he's, the coaches and the coaching staff really like what they saw in him, and I think he's going to have a pretty solid impact. I think, again, I think the main thing is a change of scenery, and nobody really looked good at Chelsea. You know what I mean? But I think they do have some good players, and that's one that I think we're able to pluck and insert. I don't know exactly how it's going to fit. Kind of anxious to see the preseason matches and see what goes on over there. Um, so yeah, other than just me being excited that we got like a player with Champions League experience, I don't know exactly how he's going to fit. So hopefully, with the weeks go on, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about his fit. Or at least I will be able to talk a little bit more about his fit. I know he's not going to be like a striker or anything like that. So probably more like the midfield. That's where Arteta mentioned when we first added him on. So, and that's what we need strengthening. So more competition, I think, is going to be great. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to play him as a number 9. I think he struggled there with Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's much more suited to playing in midfield. He was doing that out in Germany and playing really well there. So hopefully we don't get the Chelsea version. We get the version he was before. I think it's just Chelsea. It didn't suit his game, the way they were playing. And now with us, we know that Xhaka's leaving now. So announced today. We're going to get onto that in a little bit. But it could be likely that Havertz is going to play in back sort of role, that advanced midfield role on the left side. He's left-footed as well. So likely he's going to go there. That leads me on to obviously other big news. that has not been confirmed by the club yet. I think it's going to be the next day or two. Should be coming
Mhm.
out from the club, but we know it's been wrapped up now. And Declan Rice is an Arsenal player. Massive signing for us. A lot of strong rumours before the season ended and at the start of the summer that he is going to be coming to us. We saw a little bit of stuff that City were in there for the race as well for a little bit of time, but it's done now, wrapped up. We've got him. Great signing for us. Young player, Premier League proven, played many big games for England as well, performed really well at the international stage as well. Really happy with his signing. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man. The first thought I had when it actually happened was the first time or when I first started supporting Arsenal. The first transfer that we picked up was Socrates. Do you remember him? The Greek defender. That was the first guy, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool name. Who knows how it's gonna happen?" And in hindsight, I was like, "Oh, wow, that was just ridiculous." But um, now we're signing the biggest English prospect in a long time, as you said. England. He's probably going to end up being the England captain. A lot of good experience for the national team. Um, big player for West Ham, probably their best player for a long time. Uh, just kind of quickly looking over his numbers, considering the style that West Ham plays, very not necessarily park the bus, but very defensive. He was a very good offensive attacking player, and so it almost feels like again that changes scenery, like putting him into a team where everybody else is just going to be so much better and a different style. I think he's going to be great as a defensive kind of guy, but I'm just excited to see him having the tools and the weapons for him to, kind of him and Odegaard just kind of unlocking them and just seeing what they're going to do on the attacking side. Um, yeah, man, massive signing for us. I think it's going to be hopefully, once it gets all wrapped up and everything goes, but I feel like it's going to be one of those landmark signings, like a game changer. You know what I mean? And maybe this is the one that's going to unlock everything. And um, like I said, I think the biggest thing is just it shows how far we've come along. Like I said, look who we were signing, in 2017, 2018, and look who we're signing now. Like players with big game experience, but also young and ready to come into the team and challenge for a top spot, and ready to raise expectations, man. I mean, so yeah, and I think it's finally time to say, look, the owners are backing the manager, and we're spending money, and it's great, man. It's great to see that. Oh, like you see all these other teams for a long time bringing in players for 100 million and just splashing cash on the big names, and we can finally do it. But it seems like the one we're doing it is like a really really good piece, young, and just everything's. I'm excited, bro. That's the big word, right? Kai Havertz and Declan Rice, I think, are massive signings for us, man.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned the money with Kai Havertz, with Declan Rice as well. It is a lot of money. Saying
Mm,
100 million plus 5 million on add-ons or saying that that's 105 million. That is a lot of money, but just it's the way the market is. Prices are
mm,
inflated. It's going up and up. So it is what it is. You've got to pay the money to get the players in that you want to get in. You mentioned the owners for sure. Amazing. Got to give him great credit for backing Arteta. The last few windows we've seen backing him. We have spent a lot of money doing it again this summer. 170 million spent already. We still got the player from Ajax we've been strongly linked with as well. Timber looks like he's going to be coming as well.
mm.
Wanted to say to you as well because I remember when we done the last show, it was right towards the end of NBA season. It was the NBA Finals and Denver, which is Kroenke's team. The Denver Nuggets won it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was reading an article about how much they're paying their star player there, Djokovic, Nikola
Mm-hmm.
Djokovic, paying him big money. We saw them do the same thing in the American football. They won that competition not too long ago. It was 2 years ago now.
Yeah, not that
Won
long
that.
ago, 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. Last year they got the NBA. So surely this year, like, cool, we want our soccer team, as you guys would call it out there, to
Yeah.
win. You know, they want to win, so hopefully they're that cool. American football team's done it. Our NBA team's done it. Now we want our soccer team to win the championship, and we're putting the money in.
Yeah, and you're seeing like, yeah, I mean, they're definitely seeing, yeah, you got to spend money to make money, and they're probably enjoying this winning. And we could talk about how shitty owners can be. These billionaires don't care about the teams and don't care about winning and things like that. But I'm sure if they experience it once, it becomes addicting. And so hopefully, yeah, we saw their hockey team won a championship years ago, not that long ago. So seeing that happen over time and having a manager like Arteta and what you hear from staff and players is just how convicted he is in wanting to win. And I'm sure he's had a positive effect on the owners and Josh Kroenke, who's kind of taken over the football side or the Arsenal side of things. And so, yeah, we're seeing it. And I think we can still hold them accountable as fans and still kind of call them to the carpet, if you will, when they don't do things right. But I think, as much as we can give credit to these really, really rich billionaires, like we got to say, hey, man, like Arteta's getting the backing. So we got to just enjoy the moment. And especially with this Timber guy, like I don't know much about him, but I do know he's a center back, that can play right back as well. So a lot of versatility. I think, we definitely need that. We saw how at the end of the season, injuries just kind of decimated us. So it's paying to have, top quality depth in the back. And he's got a little bit of championship experience over at Ajax. I mean, we know what kind of talent they turn out. They're one of those clubs that, uh, players get big and then they get sold off, and then Ajax just turns them out over and over. So we got a young guy, 22 years old, probably not going to start right away. Like we have our starting back four, but it's good to have if we have Tomiyasu back healthy, Jacob Kiwior, and this guy Timber, and then if we can, if Tierney decides to stay, I mean, you see what Arteta, says when he wants too deep at every position. We we clearly now have too deep at every position in the back, right? So that's awesome, right? So hopefully, we see him. I don't know much about him, but uh, when the name first came up, a lot of people, a lot of pundits, and everyone, had nothing but good things to say about him. So it's another one of those diamonds in the rough, I think. So yeah, man, three big players that we're bringing in, and now we're gonna start seeing, I think, a bunch of sells going on, and then we might see us bringing in a couple players at the end of the window, but. So far, so good, man. I'm buzzing, bro.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Me too. So where else would you like to see us strengthen the team?
Um, I still think we need somebody for Bukayo Saka. Like it seems like he's gonna be the main guy. Um, I don't know if Reese Nelson is going to back him up or play on the left side. We do have a bunch of players that can play all across the front three, so maybe Arteta is aiming at just kind of having his backup players at least be able to slot in anywhere. But I would like to see somebody, or at least the development happen where there's somebody solid behind Bukayo Saka. Whether we bring somebody in or if what we see in preseason is Arteta try somebody else, like Reese Nelson back there, or we start seeing Jesus up or something, right? I want to see uh uh opportunities for Bukayo Saka to get rest. So I would hope to see us bring in one more player. Um, I don't know. I feel like we're good in the back. I think we've done a lot in the midfield to solidify that. I just think we're missing one more key piece, and that's bringing in somebody for Bukayo Saka. Also, another thing I'm thinking about is if there's been whispers that Arsenal are ready to let Thomas Partey go. If we do let him go and sell him, I think we need to bring somebody else in for him. So one, potentially two players, depending on who who leaves. You know what I mean? Uh, but these three players are exactly what we needed to fill in terms of like needs. So I think one player max, or no, one player for sure, two players max. I think we'll see. So we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, as you say, it's going to come down to who leaves as well.
Hmm.
Interesting to see what happens with Thomas Partey, because for me, he's one of the best defensive midfielders in the league on his
Yeah,
day. I know his form did drop off towards the end of the season, maybe down to tiredness. He was having to play a lot of games. He's not used to playing so many games in a season because he normally does get injured quite often. So he would have a break when he's injured. But last season, he played a lot of games. So he did drop off towards the end, but I rate him really highly. Not sure what's going to happen. As you're saying, there's these links for him to be leaving. And then if it's a case of him and Xhaka are both left, we would definitely want to be getting someone else in, because then it'll be like just Declan Rice as our main option as that
yeah,
CD holding midfield role. I was going to ask you that if Partey does stay, hopefully he does, and then you got to look at the three midfield. You got the option of Partey, a CDM, then ahead of him you could have Havertz and Odegaard, or you could have Declan Rice and Odegaard. Odegaard's going to be there for sure. We know that he's our captain. He was outstanding last season, player of the season. So he's definitely going to be there. But the other two to go alongside him. So as I'm saying, you could have Declan Rice with Havertz and Odegaard, or you could have Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, or you could have. There's no way he's not going to pay Declan Rice after paying that kind of money for him as well. It's difficult as
yeah.
well. The Havertz thing, you're paying a lot of money for him. Is he a backup to Odegaard then? As some people are suggesting, is he a starter? Based on the current circumstances, how would you look to deal with that situation?
I feel like yeah, the one I really want to see is Odegaard, Thomas Partey, and Declan Rice. I think would be our strongest midfield man. But someone like Thomas Partey, like I think, if we decide to keep him, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of players in the midfield and maybe even in the defense, right? Um, Start not see like a heavy rotation, man. Like if you look at the way Man City, if you look at a lot of their players and how many starts they got, it was all anywhere between 20 to 25, right? Whereas a lot of our players were getting 25 to 30 and above, right? So I think we're going to see a heavy rotation, especially in the midfield. And I think Kai Havertz would be the first one to come in favor of Martin Odegaard. You know what I mean? And we also can't forget that we're also going to see Emil Smith Rowe hopefully come back into the team and start fighting for minutes. Fabio Vieira, I think, might be on the fringes a little bit. Lokonga, I think, is somebody who's going to end up going, like getting sold or whatever. Um, and there, and then Jorginho's still in there. So it's like, man, we've got like a embarrassment of riches right now. But I do think, yes, it's going to be Thomas Partey, Martin Odegaard, and then Declan Rice to start in our big midfield, and then we'll see how it goes as far as the backups are concerned. But yeah, I kind of want to see those three start, and then yeah, Kai Havertz. Yeah, we pay big money for him to be a backup, but I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's
That's the
again.
thing.
That's the weird mystery
No, that's
piece,
the
man.
thing. That's the level we want to get to, as we're saying. That Man
Yeah,
City level where you have that caliber of player as a backup or a rotation player, like they do. They have the likes of Mahrez, Foden,
yeah,
players that they bring in the rotation, and these are world class players. You look at their bench, the Champions League final, De Bruyne is going off, who's along with Haaland their best player. They bring on Foden,
yeah,
didn't make a difference to their team, and that's what
yeah,
for us. We want the same scenario where if the player that in the starting 11 is not available, you're rotating him to give a rest. There's not that big drop off. It doesn't affect the team play. And that's what you can see that, as you're saying, Arteta is working towards having two deep in each position. And if you've got to spend that kind of money to get a player like Havertz, you've got to do it. That's if you want to compete with Man City for us now, we know that's the stage we want to get to now.
yeah,
Not just compete with them. We managed to do that this season, compete with them. We want to get ahead of them. So
yeah.
this is what we got to do.
Yeah, and you know what? Something else we missed, and I kind of was thinking about it, but I was looking at all their heights, and I'm looking at like the height that we're starting to become. Uh, like we got some tall guys, man. Declan Rice is a tall dude. Um, Kai Havertz is a big guy, and he did score a lot of goals via header. So I think that's also something. Again, we're trying to compete and beat directly against Man City. Like to use like a basketball reference, but when the San Antonio Spurs were at the top, and the Lakers, you always heard like, okay, like what is San Antonio going to bring in to compete against to compete against the Lakers, and vice versa, right? You look at the top teams and you want to beat them, because if you can beat them or go head to head with them, everybody else is below you. Like, you're fine. Like, you got that covered, right? So yeah, you could see what Arsenal's trying to do is get to the level of City, and we saw where we had to be, and I'm pretty sure now we're looking forward to trying to see how we can get to that next stage. And so yeah, man, Kai Havertz for me is going to be the wild card. So I'm really, really, of all the players, obviously, like, really happy that we got who we got. But I think Kai Havertz is the one that I'm going to like watch with an extra close eye, because I'm very curious to see how he's going to fit into this team, because we've got a lot of players that can play a lot of positions, and what is he going to do? Because he was always starting for Chelsea, and he was like he had the biggest target on his back and got the most criticism, but he was always starting for them, right? So let's see what happens.
Yeah, he's versatile in the sense that we saw in Chelsea, he's playing as a number nine, can play on either side as well, on the flanks and the Odegaard role, and also the role that Xhaka was playing for us as well. So yeah, I think it is a good signing. Bit skeptical at the start, but then when you look at it deeper and you think, okay, he's a good player. He had a little bit of a poor season last season, but he is a very good player, and hopefully Arteta can unlock his potential and make him become a world-class player. And let's hope he has a great season for us next year.
For sure.
Well, let's see how the rest of the transfer window goes. Looking forward to that first preseason game, bro. And looking forward to catching up with you really soon. Hopefully to
Yeah.
talk about some more transfer news and see how we start getting on in that preseason.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. And then, I guess before we go, we gotta give a shout out to Granit Xhaka, man.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
forgot that bit, bro. I really forgot. Apologies for Granit Xhaka there. It's because we mentioned it at the start, and I said
yeah,
this get into it towards the end after we talk about the transfers in. Big news that came out today. We knew it was kind of very likely to happen. We did mention it on the last show when we were talking about that last game of the season. He got the 2 goals. Great way to finish if it was his farewell game, and the rumors were strong that he was leaving, but was confirmed today. Saw the video that was released by the club. He had what you call a bit of a roller coaster time with
hmm
certain incidents that happened, but overall, he was a great servant for the club. Really proud to represent us. You could see the passion in him. That's what we love to see as fans play with that sort of passion that he had. You could see he really did love the club. He really did care. And great guy. You hear all the stuff that's come out from Arteta, some of the other players. Great guy in the changing room. Really wish him every success in his future. And thank you for his time with us.
yeah, man. Swiss captain. Yeah, he really, for me as a fan, when I kept stepped in, he was like the biggest lightning rod on the team, got the most hate, and I always was like trying to give him a chance. And then, I didn't realize how serious it was when he stepped off and threw his shirt off, and wearing the captain band. I didn't understand the gravity of what was going on at that time. Over time, I realized, okay, wow, like that's a serious thing. So I'm really glad that he started or kind of went there, and then one foot out the door, Arteta brings him in. The way he played this season, incredible. He's going to be a big hole to fill. But he was able to achieve something with Arsenal, bring us back to the Champions League, and kind of. I wish we would have won the title last year just for him. And I wish he would have stuck around at least one more year. to play some Champions League football with us, but that's just me being like emotional. But the way it ended and him going off to another team to do something else, it's sort of a storybook ending, and always going to remember that Wolves game, the 2 goals, begging for him to get the hat trick. Um, but yeah, it was a great way to end his career. I'm with Arsenal, and I'm looking forward to actually watching him in the Bundesliga now. Because yeah, I'll tune in to watch him play just because he's a fun player to watch. So shout out to Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, for sure, bro. So that's all from us for this week's show. I'll catch up with you really soon, bro. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, no problem, man. Next week, let's do it because the preseason matches will start, and then we can start previewing other preseason matches and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, bro. Looking forward to the game against the MLS All Stars.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It'll be interesting to see. I've heard a lot of good things about how the MLS is improving there. Got Messi coming there. That's
Messi's coming.
guys.
It's good. I compare it to like championship in England, right? The championship level, like right below Premier League. So it's good. It's scrappy football. It's getting better as the grassroots starts to build a little bit. It's not better than like La Liga or like even Bundesliga or even like the French league, but it's exciting, right? It's fun to watch, and it's competitive, so it's getting better, and it'll be fun to see a team like Arsenal come in, and it's gonna be kind of like a cross promotion type thing. Like America's gonna get a chance to see Arsenal, and people who are Arsenal fans are gonna get to see the MLS to kind of see what we've got to offer too. So it's gonna be fun overall. I don't usually watch All-Star matches. I'm gonna watch this just because it's gonna be like a mix between my two worlds right now. So I'm excited, man.
Cool, bro. Look forward to seeing that soon and speaking to you
Yeah.
soon. So that's all from us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.